B at Zandro, tunay ngang medyo overwhelming talaga yung mga pangyayari na nasasaksihan natin ngayon sa Malacanang. Kagaya na lang nito yung suporta ng mga tao na galing sa iba't ibang sektor ng ating bansa.
Tsaka yung pagtanggap talaga, Atty. JJ, yun yung pinaka, siguro sabihin natin nakakabuhat sa nangyayari ngayon. Kasi ultimo, estudyante, bata, matanda, nakikita natin yung suporta, nakita natin kung gaano sila na-inspire. Alright, sa mga oras na po ito ay nagsisimula na po ang memorial service naman po ng Kaya Natin Movement dyan po sa may Malacanang.
Nagsilbing magandang halimbawa, inspirasyon sa aming pagiging aktibo sa pakilahok sa gawain ng mabubuting pamamahala. He is considered our icon of good governance. Maraming salamat sa pagbigay mo sa amin kay Sik Jess. Pasalamat din sa kanyang pamilya, kay Ma'am Lenny at sa kanyang 3 anak. At ang aming dasal na siya ay yung bigyan ng sapat na kaligayahan at kapayapaan. Ang iniwan niyang alaala ay aming ipagpatuloy. Kami ay patuloy na makilahok para maging maunlad ang aming bayan at maging matuwid at maging mabuti ang pamamahala. He gives us this inspiration and standards. We are going to continue this legacy and say to him later, we succeed, Sik Jess, in what you have started. Lord, maraming salamat at patuloy mo kaming gabayan sa aming patuloy na mga gawain na si Jess ay aming kasama sa diwa, siya magsilbing naming inspirasyon sa patuloy naming mga gawain. Maraming salamat at kaming lahat ay nagpapasalamat kay Sik Jess. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak at ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Please be seated. Today, the Kaya Natin Movement for Good Governance and Ethical Leadership pays tribute to one of our co-founders, former Naga City Mayor and DILG Secretary, Jesse Robredo. To us, he was a leader, role model, esteemed colleague, mentor, and friend. Allow me to quote Matthew chapter 23, verse 12. For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Secretary Robredo gave life to this biblical verse. The Kaya Natin family will forever be grateful to the Lord for the gift of you. May I ask our fellow co-founder, former Governor Grace Padaka, to give her words for Secretary Robredo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Naririnig ko na ang tungkol kay Mayor Jesse Robredo. Broadcaster pa lang po ako doon sa amin sa Isabela. I would share with my radio listeners whenever he would win awards for the way his leadership was transforming the city of Naga. I once gate crashed a conference where he was a speaker just to see him in person and listen to him. Napakapalad ko na sa nakalipas na 4 na taon, magmula noong maitatag ang Kaya Natin, ang isang Jesse Robredo ay paulit-ulit kong nakasama. Ako at ang mga mayor, konsehal, at iba pang local government officials na kasapi ng Kaya Natin. Kay Secretary Jesse namin nakita na kahit matagal ka na sa poder, in his case, he was mayor for 18 years and cabinet secretary for 2 years, pwedeng manatiling simple at walang yabang, hindi apektado ng kapangyarihan. Dahil kay Jesse Robredo, hindi na pwedeng sabihing imposible na hindi natin kaya ang good governance and ethical leadership. Huwag na sana tayong magpalusot pa. Nakayanan niya, natagalan niya, at higit sa lahat, noong naging DILG secretary siya, ay naumpisahan niyang ituro ito sa iba't ibang munisipyo at probinsya. Sabi nga ni Mrs. Lenny Robredo kahapon, sana ang mga bagay na nasimula ni Sec. Jessie ay may pagpatuloy sa DILG para naman hindi mapunta sa wala ang kanyang mga sakripisyo. Ang pinakamagandang alaala ko po kay Sec. Jessie ay noong first time namin nadalawin siya ni na Among Ed Panlilio ng Pampanga at ni Harvey Ke sa office niya sa DILG. Wala lang, gusto lang namin noon na palakasin ang kanyang loob. Hindi kasi siya yung tipong dinedetalya niya ang kanyang mga pinagdadaanan. Basta ang natatandaan ko, nagliwanag ang mukha niya nung ang ikinikwento niya sa amin ay yung minsan daw may nagpasaklolo sa kanya na isang grupo na taga-barangay. May tinawagan siya para tumulong at agad nagkaroon ng aksyon. Isang tawag lang ni Sec. Jessie. Siguro po dahil bagong DILG secretary pa lang siya noon, parang namangha din siya na nagawa niya yon. It was like he couldn't believe that it could be as easy as that for his people to obey him and mobilize resources. Sabi niya po, di ba Grace, lagi mong sinasabi sa mga speech mo na power can be a good thing. If you use it well, it will enable you to help a lot of people. Siguro po mga kababayan namin, yun ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nakayanan ni Sec. Jessie ang malaking tungkulin niya sa buong bansa. Kasi sulit ang hirap at pagod niya sa tulong at serbisyong na ibibigay niya sa napakaraming tao. Actually po, may iba pa ko sana akong isa-share sa inyo, pero saka na lang dahil siguradong maiiyak na naman ako. Baka mas marami pa akong iyak kesa kina Aika, kay Trisha, kay Jillian, kay Lenny. Basta, ang alam ko lang to the women in Sec. Jessie's life, sobra niya kayong mahal. Kung minsan, nai-indyan niya kami dahil mas mahalaga kayo sa kanya. Noong naging cabinet secretary siya, darating pa lang siya, darating pa rin naman, he would still come, pero sandali lang. At may style yun pasimpleng aalis. Pag hinahanap na namin, pag picture-picture na, wala siya. Pasimple lang na nawala na. Pero alam na namin kung bakit, naiintindihan na namin kung bakit. Pero itong biglang pag-iwan niya sa ating lahat ay mahirap intindihin. And it is anything but simple and quiet. Like the many times he would leave our Kaya Natin gatherings. Yes, he would leave, but he'd come back again and again. This time, we all know he's not coming back, but we all know too that he will not be totally gone. How can that be when the Filipino people know him so much better now and appreciate him the way we never did before? Kasalanan na po nating mga Pilipino kung alam nating kalahi natin ang isang dakilang Jesse Robredo, pero hindi pa rin tayo magsisikap ng magpakadakila katulad niya. Mabuti po tayong lahi, marangal tayong lahi, huwag lang tayong padadaig sa tuksong manglamang kaysa magmalasakit sa kapwa. Sana po ay piliin nating lagi na magpakatino, magpakatatag, at magpaka-Jessie. Maraming salamat po.
May we ask Dean Antonio Tony Lavinia of the Ateneo School of Government to give a few words.
Thank you. It always hurts to lose a friend, and Jesse Robredo is both a friend to me and a friend to the Philippines, which only multiplies the pain. We have all heard the condolences and commiserations and testimonies of praise from those who knew him well, who share in his burden or who are beneficiaries of his work as Naga Mayor or Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary, and from the ordinary people whom he swore to serve. These testimonials are worth repeating until they're branded into the memory of the Filipino people. Hans Christian Andersen said that a human life is a story told by God. In Jesse Robredo's case, it is a story of good Philippine governance, and I must emphasize, good Philippine politics. Jesse certainly is one of the most beloved and admired officials in President Noynoy Aquino's administration for what he had accomplished in his past as Naga Mayor, what he came to accomplish in his DILG duties, and for what he stood for. Our desires as a polity, hope for clean, honest, good Philippine governance and politics. It's hard to remain cynical and be resigned to the business-as-usual governance and politics in the country that has hampered economic growth and social equity when we see people of Jesse's ilk in all levels of government. Champions of good governance, we in Kaya Natin call such people. Allies in power who share our interest for transparency and accountability and who would extend every help they could to advance that common cause. Even for Naga alone, Robredo more than qualified for the title champion. Galing Pook gladly awarded Naga City an astounding 14 various awards for good governance since 1994 because of his innovative efforts in transparency and accountability. For this reason, even before he joined the DILG, I had invited him to serve as teacher, speaker, and resource person for the Ateneo School of Government in pursuit of that common cause of good governance and firmly believing that it was possible to achieve even in our lifetimes. In addition to being a champion of good governance, let's be clear that Jesse, at his core, is a politician, a good one, an effective and ethical one, which to many are an oxymoron. But he is the real thing. In my many conversations with Jesse, the topic of how good governance also means and requires good politics was a frequent theme. When we were trying to convince him to run for president in 2010, Jesse showed to me what real political wisdom was. I remember him telling me and telling many of us that there were two reasons that he was not going to run. First, he was realistic about his chances. Unless we could show him there was a pathway to victory, he would not even consider it. But there was a second, probably even more important reason. He had given his word to Senator Mar Rojas that he would help him, and he was not about to break that. That, for me, was true political wisdom. Jesse Robredo sought to open government's windows to the Filipino people. But do we reply by only looking through these windows graciously opened for us? Or do we reply further by entering through these windows, so to speak, by participating in the cause of good governance? The Persian poet Rumi wrote, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes around in another form." In losing Jesse Robredo, we have lost a friend and champion. But we should not lose faith, hope, and love in our country and our fellow human beings, as he did not. As many testimonials have offered, the best way to celebrate his life is to emulate his life and share with others. To become like him, not just in demanding good governance, but in working towards it. Every man and woman are Robredo, whatever our station in life, whatever our position in government and in our country. In memory of a good friend, perhaps it is important to remind ourselves that we are not powerless, that we have the resources to make good governance possible. Robredo has done so for Naga and the DILG. Why can't others, both in and out of government, do so for our own cities and for our country? Why can't Naga's and Robredo's DILG story and his story be our country's story as well? The story of God. That is why in this eulogy, I use the present tense. That is intentional. Far better than to mourn death is to celebrate life that was lived. I think the family of Secretary Jesse has shown that to us. This should now be the rallying cry we offer to the memory of such an amazing life. DILG sworn it would continue the reforms Robredo pursued, and many of his colleagues elsewhere in government and outside have offered similar sacred oaths. Everyone a Robredo. It is the perfect way to keep his spirit alive in all of us, that the beloved friend we've lost come around to us in another form. Thank you and good afternoon.